Greetings, one and all. Every season, the battle to become the Elite Ice Hockey League's top team and win the league championship is a tightly contested race, with the hardware up for grabs often changing hands with each coming season. However, if you look much further down towards the bottom of the league standings, one team has earned the reputation of caretaker of the EIHL's basement-dwelling teams, constantly finishing rock bottom as each season comes and goes. I am of course referring to the men from Murrayfield, the Edinburgh Capitals! Hockey in Edinburgh has been on a very slippery slope since the Capitals' creation in 1998, with success being hard to come by and wins being few and far between. With no end to their woes in sight given their performance this season, the time has come for something drastic to be done to this team. Something or someone needs to nip this whole situation in the bud and either allow the team to flourish or accept defeat. So the big question is, should the Edinburgh Capitals be saved from their financial and on-ice limbo and be given a new lease of life to try and finally compete for an EIHL trophy? Or should the team accept the fact that the Capitals have been a lost cause for years now and shut the whole thing down rather than waste their time trying to fix something that is clearly broken down to its core? Well, let's explore the whole picture, shall we? Since the Elite Ice Hockey League began operating 13 years ago in 2005, to say the Edinburgh Capitals have been allergic to success is an understatement. As of the time of this recording, the Capitals' overall record since joining the Elite League is as follows: 674 games played, 192 wins, 428 losses, 52 overtime losses, and 2 ties, whilst the Capitals have never ranked higher than 6th place in the league standings. Yes, you heard that right. 428 regulation losses in 674 games. They have lost well over half of the games they have ever played in the Elite Ice Hockey League. This point certainly fits the argument that this team is a lost cause, doesn't it? In 13 years, this team hasn't even won 200 league games. So why should we allow them to stick around and continue to lose? Nothing has changed in the first 13 years of this team's existence in the league. So why should we expect something will change now, considering the way things are handled in Edinburgh? Also, the Capitals have had 10 different coaching changes in their 13 years in the EIHL. If that doesn't instantly scream inconsistency, I don't know what does, folks. How can you create a structured organisation and establish a culture as a team when your coach is changing practically every season? It's basically a revolving door, with one person leaving and another joining every single off-season. The Save the Caps argument would probably say that the Caps organisation would have wanted one of these coaches to stick around maybe a few more years in order to create some consistency in the way players are coached year in and year out, and really help this team find ways to finally succeed. But professional sports is a results-based industry, and no coach wants to manage a team that can't win a hockey game even if their lives depended on it. No coach wants to go to Edinburgh, where the odds are already stacked so far against you, and be associated with a team that picks up loss after loss after loss. It damages their reputation as a coach and could limit future coaching jobs they might receive compared to if they just didn't stop in Edinburgh in the first place. No athlete of any worth ever wants to lose. No sportsman ever wants to lose. So why would Edinburgh be a hotspot for the top coaches of today and of the future when all they have done since their inception in the league is lose? The same goes for the players. Unless they aren't finding a roster spot elsewhere and they really want to keep playing hockey professionally, why would a player want to come to Edinburgh to play for the Capitals? A team known and mocked by the league for its inability to win hockey games consistently. Desperation? Decent pay? Even then you might not even get paid with the team's financial problems. All this means that Edinburgh isn't exactly a free agent hotspot, which makes it so they have to bring in the best players they can from a less than mediocre bunch, which hurts the team and sets them up for failure even more because they ice a poor team and end up with another awful season record. It's a vicious cycle for the Edinburgh Capitals. Team has yet another poor season. Head coach gets better offer elsewhere and leaves. Team signs any coach willing to do the job. Decent players get better offers elsewhere and leave the team. The team signs anyone willing to play for the Capitals. The team ices a mediocre roster because they were the only players available, and the team has yet another poor season. And off it goes again. Now, some of you may be wondering, well, why are Edinburgh so bad? What's caused the team to be so consistently unsuccessful every single season? Well, the main problem you could argue with the team and what's stopping them from competing is a lack of financial backing. It's no secret among the league and its fans that the Edinburgh Capitals have had financial issues for a long time, and it's no shock to hear that Edinburgh have one of, if not the lowest budget of any EIHL team, including the new expansion teams in Milton Keynes and Guildford. Whether it's finding the money to pay their import players or finding investors to keep the team running, the Capitals have always been struggling to make ends meet, which has resulted in a less than stellar roster every year. With the league getting more and more talented and bringing in more ex-NHLers, teams will have to pay these players more and more to keep them around in the league. The Caps will continue to struggle if they can't come up with the money to bring in or keep top-end talent around who might actually help turn their team's fortune around and finally bring some success to Murrayfield. There is no way that this team's success will change given the talent that joins the league's top teams each year if the Caps don't get proper funding to get some of those players themselves. Without a budget near to the other teams in the league, this team is destined for continued and repeated failure. You could argue that in order to save the Caps and finally make them a competitive team, you just need to give them more money and let them work it all out with the new cash flow. Whilst you may somewhat be right, and it sounds simple enough, who's going to give them the money? Who wants to help fund a team that regularly sits at the bottom of the league standings? Whose company or brand wants to be associated with a team that can't succeed even when they try? No one does. They'll put their money towards the Fifes and the Brayheads and the Dundees because at least they know those teams stand a slightly better chance at succeeding in the league. Now, here's my take on the whole thing. It's true that all the Caps need in order to pick themselves off the floor and start to see some positive change is some proper funding. But I just don't think that's going to happen because it could have happened at any point in the last 13 years. In my opinion, the league should just cut the cord and let the Caps keep whatever smudge of dignity they have left by bowing out of the league for good, or at least until they get some noticeable money behind them and a strong structure. I'm sorry, but to lose well over half of your games since joining the league is pretty awful for any franchise in any league. To create such a precedent of consistent losing, and for the league to allow this mediocrity to continue for 13 years is just disgraceful, not only to the fans, but to the city of Edinburgh. If the EIHL wants to rival other European leagues, the Caps can't be a placeholder in the EIHL anymore. They can no longer receive a participation award for filling the slot at the bottom of the league that nobody else wants, while other solid teams that sit in lower leagues do a better job at running their teams and have more of a chance to compete for the EIHL title than the Edinburgh Capitals do. Guildford and Milton Keynes joined the league less than a season ago and are already doing much better in the EIHL than Edinburgh are. And they haven't even played against this level of talent before. Guildford could finish higher in the league standings in their first season in the league than Edinburgh ever have since the league's inception 13 years ago. Now, I don't want to speak for them if I don't truly represent how they feel, but the Caps should let their loyal fans, who have stuck by them through this failure of a franchise, to finally move on and find another, more successful team to support. One who will treat them and their support better by rewarding it with on-ice success. The Caps organisation writing a letter to fans claiming that they will try to be better have come pretty much every single off-season, and every year those words become more hollow, to the point where they're practically transparent now. You've needed to do better for years, Capitals, but you haven't. Whose fault is that? Well, your guess is as good as mine, but to be honest, I don't really care about assigning blame. I just want to see results. Positive results, not more of the same. That way, I know the Capitals truly belong in the top hockey league in the country. I want them to belong, I really do, but the way things are run up there, I don't even think they want to belong anymore. And that's the saddest thing of all, I think. So Edinburgh Capitals, it's been a good run, but as much as it pains me to say it, I think it's time you shut off your lights for the last time and left the Elite Ice Hockey League for good. And there you go. I now want to pass the question off to you guys. What do you think about the Edinburgh Capitals? Should someone come along and save them, or are they a lost cause at this point? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys think. But thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you have enjoyed. Please feel free to like, subscribe, share, or watch some of my other videos. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.